Ancestral wisdom is the enduring foundation of entire cultures, preserved across generations through oral tradition, communal rituals, and deep spiritual teachings. In Native American societies, this wisdom is woven into every facet of life, shaped by reverence for the earth, respect for community, and spiritual practices that permeate daily existence. Although each nation has unique cultural expressions, certain themes unite them: a profound bond with nature, collective responsibility, and an ever-present sense of the sacred. In this video narrative, we will examine these core elements of Native American ancestral wisdom, exploring pivotal texts, historical insights, and modern expressions of indigenous spirituality. By offering a structured yet accessible overview, we aim to showcase both the resilience of Native cultures and the universal relevance of their teachings in our rapidly changing world. To understand Native American spirituality, one must place it within its broader historical framework. For centuries, tribes cultivated intimate relationships with the land, guided by cyclical natural rhythms. However, colonization severely disrupted this balance. Treaties such as Fort Laramie, 1851-1868, displaced communities from homelands they deemed sacred, compromising traditional ways of life. Along with territorial losses, these upheavals also threatened the transmission of ceremonial knowledge, tribal languages, and clan identities. Early anthropologists like Franz Boas and Alfred Kroeber documented indigenous practices and languages, often through a Western academic lens. Missionary and explorer accounts had additional biases that obscured the deeper spiritual truths of Native cultures. Today, indigenous scholars collaborate with elders and community members to reclaim and revive the traditions once endangered by forced assimilation. This collaborative effort ensures ancestral wisdom remains a living force rather than a mere historical artifact. Reverence for nature. Across many tribes, the earth is regarded as a living being, Mother Earth, whose well-being is intertwined with that of humankind. Hunting, farming, and gathering reflect an ethic of gratitude and respect, often demonstrated through offerings or prayers. This foundational principle guides communal practices such as sustainable hunting and cooperative agriculture, reinforcing a cycle of reciprocity between humans and the natural world. Native American cosmologies frequently assert that every living entity, from a blade of grass to the largest bison, possesses a spirit. This recognition of universal kinship fosters a strong sense of responsibility in all human-environment interactions. Whether in hunting or harvesting, individuals acknowledge that each action affects the broader web of existence, demanding balance and humility. Historically, cultural values and teachings passed from generation to generation via spoken narratives, songs, and ceremonial storytelling. Skilled storytellers and elders served as keepers of history and moral instruction, ensuring these lessons adapted over time without losing their essence. Oral tradition functions not only as a means of preserving history, but also as the connective tissue linking communal identity across centuries. Many Native American beliefs emphasize cyclical rather than linear time, a perspective visible in symbols like the medicine wheel or the sacred circle. This cyclical worldview sees birth, growth, death, and rebirth as repeating segments of a grand continuum. Rituals tied to solstices, equinoxes, or harvest seasons reinforce this message of eternal renewal and communal participation in nature's rhythms. The Sun Dance. Practiced by various Plains nations like the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho, the Sun Dance entails fasting, dancing, and in some cases, bodily sacrifice. Dancers circle a central pole, often seen as the axis connecting earth and sky. Their physical and spiritual exertions embody both personal purification and collective renewal, the Sweat Lodge. Known among the Lakota as the Inipi, the Sweat Lodge ceremony is a sacred rite of purification and rebirth. Red-hot stones placed in a small, dome-shaped lodge generate steam when sprinkled with water. Participants offer prayers, sing, and share visions, undergoing an intensive process of both physical detoxification and spiritual introspection. Peyote ceremony. Found among some southwestern tribes and the Native American Church, peyote ceremonies incorporate the sacramental ingestion of a psychoactive cactus. Guided by a spiritual leader or roadman, participants engage in all-night prayer, drumming, and singing. Many believe peyote fosters healing and offers a deeper connection with the spirit world. Totem poles. In the Pacific Northwest, towering totem poles depict clan animals such as ravens, wolves, and eagles, symbolizing ancestral lineage and spiritual ties. Beyond their artistic grandeur, totem poles serve as living records of a clan's heritage and communal identity, bridging past generations with the present. Animals and spiritual guides. Animals play vital roles in many Native American traditions, functioning as teachers or guides rather than mere symbols. The eagle. Seen as a messenger to the Creator, the eagle embodies vision and transcendence. Its feathers adorn ceremonial regalia, believed to carry prayers to the divine realm. The buffalo. Essential for the survival of the Plains tribes, the buffalo symbolizes abundance and sustenance. Rituals that pay homage to this animal highlight communal interconnectedness and reciprocity, recognizing the buffalo's profound role in tribal life. The wolf. Esteemed for its loyalty, cooperation, and intelligence, the wolf underlines familial bonds. Stories featuring wolves often emphasize the strength found in unity, teaching that tight communal ties are essential for collective survival. The oral tradition is the lifeblood of cultural continuity. Through fireside stories and ceremonial gatherings, tribes impart legends, moral lessons, and histories that shape their identities. Each retelling adapts to current realities while preserving core truths, weaving past and present into a seamless cultural tapestry. Tragically, 19th and 20th century assimilation policies targeted indigenous languages, forcing children into boarding schools where they were punished for speaking their mother tongues. This caused deep ruptures in language transmission. Nevertheless, contemporary revitalization efforts such as language immersion schools and community-led classes strive to regenerate the linguistic richness that conveys the subtle nuances of prayer, myth, and ceremonial life. The sacred circle. Few images unite Native American cosmologies more powerfully than the circle. In Lakota belief, the medicine wheel is divided into 4 directions, each associated with distinct qualities, like growth, reflection, renewal, or wisdom. Ceremonies often unfold in circular configurations, reflecting the egalitarian principle that all life stands at an equal distance from the Creator. By embracing the circle in dance, prayer, or council meetings, participants acknowledge the eternal bonds connecting individuals, nature, and the spiritual realm. It is a visual statement of the cyclical worldview at the heart of Native wisdom, reinforcing that all life stages, seasons, and transformations form parts of one cohesive whole. Native American communities continue to confront environmental threats, legal battles over sovereignty, and social issues such as poverty and health disparities. Nevertheless, ancestral teachings offer guiding principles for navigating modern pressures. Movements like the Standing Rock protests highlight how the traditional view of water as sacred underpins contemporary environmental activism. Similarly, tribal leaders often ground legal arguments in spiritual claims, asserting that certain landscapes, rivers, and mountains have intrinsic value beyond commercial interests. Federal acts like the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA, represent legal steps toward respecting indigenous rights, allowing tribes to reclaim ancestral remains and ceremonial objects. By linking legislation to cultural preservation, these laws validate the ongoing significance of spiritual traditions, emphasizing that sacred artifacts form an essential part of living cultural identities. In many Native traditions, healing transcends the strictly physical domain. Medicine people or spiritual healers address illness by targeting the emotional, communal, and spiritual factors at play. Herbal remedies, prayer songs, and communal support merge to restore balance. An ailment can signify a fracture in one's relationship with family, the land, or the spirit world. Thus, healing rituals focus on reconnecting these threads. The sweat lodge and peyote ceremonies can also serve therapeutic functions. By releasing emotional burdens and forging a closer bond with the sacred, participants often find renewed vigor. The communal aspect fosters empathy, ensuring no one faces their struggles alone. Despite historical oppression, A renaissance of Native American culture is flourishing today. Younger generations collect elders' stories, reclaim ancient dances, and revitalize ceremonies once driven underground. Authors, filmmakers, and musicians integrate tribal languages and sacred narratives into modern artistic forms, forging pathways to preserve traditions without freezing them in time. Organizations like the American Indian Movement and the National Congress of American Indians bridge activism and cultural advocacy, asserting sovereignty and promoting diverse tribal interests. Their work illustrates that ancestral wisdom remains dynamic, shaping community-driven solutions to contemporary challenges. Ceremonial objects often act as bridges between visible and unseen realities. The sacred pipe. Among Plains tribes, the pipe symbolizes a living bond between humans and the cosmos. Smoke from the pipe is said to carry prayers skyward, uniting one's intention with the broader universe. Each part of the pipe can represent elements of creation, reinforcing the holistic cosmology that binds people, animals, and spirits together. Drums and rattles. Drums are likened to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, creating a unifying rhythm for participants in dance or prayer. Rattles, fashioned from gourds or hides, add an additional layer of sound and texture, intensifying collective focus. Sacred bundles. In certain tribes, sacred bundles contain items such as feathers, beads, or special herbs. Passed down through lineages, these bundles are opened during ceremonies for healing, guidance, or seasonal observances. Their contents maintain a powerful link to ancestral spirits and tribal heritage. While elders preserve the essence of traditional knowledge, younger members often inhabit a tech-driven, globalized world. Intergenerational programs, from cultural camps to mentorship circles, enable elders to share sacred songs, crafts, and historical accounts. This dialogue revitalizes cultural memory and ensures rituals remain relevant to new generations. Conversely, youth adept in digital tools help document and disseminate ancestral practices. By filming ceremonies with tribal permission, creating language learning applications, or hosting virtual storytelling sessions, they merge tradition with innovation. This synergy fortifies cultural identity in the face of ongoing social and technological transformation. Indigenous communities across North America encompass a vast range of environments and cultural nuances. For instance, Inuit in Arctic regions focus on seal and whale hunts, while southwestern tribes depend on irrigation and celebrate seasonal rains. On the Pacific Northwest coast, the potlatch ceremony features communal feasts, contrasting with large-scale bison hunts among the Plains nations. Despite this diversity, a shared reverence for the land and a sense of communal obligation unite these groups. From Diné, Navajo, sand painting rituals to clan-based ceremonies of the Haudenosaunee, Iroquois, each tradition addresses universal human questions about place, identity, and spiritual belonging. Together, these practices enrich the collective tapestry of Native American heritage. Community events and cultural centers. Attend local powwows, museum exhibits, or tribal gatherings. Observing dances, drumming, and crafts in person fosters a deeper, more respectful understanding. Scholarly and indigenous-led research. Beyond academic overviews like the Handbook of North American Indians, seek work authored by indigenous scholars. These writings often shed light on internal perspectives, bridging academic analysis with tribal values. Volunteering and language revitalization. Language preservation initiatives and ecological projects welcome respectful volunteers. Approached with humility, such engagements can strengthen ties between non-native allies and indigenous communities. Supporting sovereignty and rights. Tribal sovereignty underpins the protection of sacred sites, cultural customs, and communal welfare. Advocacy for indigenous-led political and legal efforts strengthens these ongoing priorities. Native American ancestral wisdom persists as a dynamic, deeply rooted force, one that honors the earth, emphasizes interdependence, and weaves spirituality into the tapestry of daily life. Despite centuries of colonization and forced assimilation, indigenous communities have preserved fundamental teachings, reshaping them to meet modern realities. Rather than being relegated to museums or history books, these belief systems remain vibrant, guiding environmental stewardship, cultural revival, and social justice activism. At its core, Native American spirituality underscores humanity's role within a cosmic web of relationships. By respecting animal kin, cherishing Mother Earth, and sustaining ceremonial bonds, tribes maintain a holistic worldview that resonates beyond geographic borders. In an era marked by ecological crises and cultural homogenization, the lessons of reciprocity, gratitude, and collective responsibility become ever more crucial. They suggest that true harmony arises when people align personal goals with the greater good, honoring both ancestors and descendants yet to come. This enduring legacy challenges all of us to acknowledge the inseparable ties among humans, nature, and the spiritual realm. As younger generations reclaim their languages, ceremonies, and histories, they breathe new life into traditions that have guided their ancestors for centuries. Their journey reminds us that by listening and learning from indigenous perspectives, we can forge a path toward shared healing, one that unites cultural integrity, environmental stewardship, and human solidarity in a world hungry for deeper connection.